Are you familiar with cannabinoid medicine? Have you ever used CBD or cannabis or THC as a remedy for any of your healing? Well, tonight that's what we're going to talk about on episode 17 of Nature's Mysteries Medicine Show. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm Michele Wildflower. I am the founder and formulator for Nature's Mysteries Apothecary. Excuse me. And now the director of education for our new school, Nature's Mysteries Academy of Holistic Health. Hi, Wendy. And so tonight we're going to be exploring cannabinoids and what their benefits are. And for the whole month of August, we're going to be learning all about cannabis medicine. How does that sound? Type yes in the comments if that sounds good to you. And even if you're watching the replay, you can type yes in the comments, and that'll kind of help to anchor in the information that we're bringing to you this evening. So, who's familiar with what cannabinoids are? Cannabinoids are molecules that are found in the cannabis or hemp plant, both. And there's actually, well, it's funny, it's changing all the time depending on the research. When I first started my education into cannabis medicine, I was told that there were over 80 different cannabinoids found in the cannabis plant. And then it actually changed to over 90, and then it was over 100, and now they're actually saying that there's over 120 different cannabinoids found in the hemp plant. So who knows? You know, honestly, they could end up finding more. They're doing research all the time, and the research that they're doing is just amazing and astounding in all of the benefits that this plant has to offer. So THC is the most studied cannabinoid found in the cannabis plant, and it does have psychoactive component to it. But what we were going to talk about this evening is the acids that are found, the cannabinoid acids that are found in the cannabis plant. So there's neutrals and there's acids, and THCA, CBDA, and CBGA are all acids that are acidic cannabinoids that are found in the hemp plant or cannabis plant, and they slowly convert to THC, CBD, and CBG. Either it could be just a slow process that naturally happens, or it could be a result of heat, higher heat, and that's a process called decarboxylation. And so when the cannabis plant or hemp is heated, those cannabinoids actually convert to, they lose their acidic properties and they become neutral. So, like I said, today we're going to be talking about THCA, CBGA, and CBDA. And the acidics are non-intoxicating. So let's say, like THCA, if someone were to find, like if someone had a cannabis bud left out and a child or a dog or something ate it, you wouldn't have to worry about them having any psychoactive component from it because it hasn't been heated. It's the act of heating it, like in a pipe or in a joint or a bong or something like that, that actually converts the THCA to THC, which does have a psychoactive component to it. So if you don't heat it, then you don't need to worry about having that psychoactive component because the acids don't have any psychoactive component. And there's actually something that's called the entourage effect that was actually discovered in 1988 in Israel by Raphael Mechoulam, and Mechoulam, and he actually realized that when cannabinoids are combined, that it stimulates what's called the entourage effect, and the benefits on the body are 2 to 4 times greater having those cannabinoids combined as opposed to an isolated compound. So what that means is that you're always going to want to try to have a full spectrum product that has all of those cannabinoids present, as opposed to like a CBD isolate or a CBG isolate or a THC isolate, because if it says isolate, then that means that that is the only molecule or compound found in that oil. So the cannabis plant actually has, you know, like over 450 or 500 healing compounds found in it. So if you remove them all and you just isolate one, then there are benefits to it, definitely. But the benefits of having all of those synergistically blended together as Mother Nature intended is always going to be better medicine for you than either a synthetic molecule that's been created in a lab or an isolated compound, even if it's from a natural plant. Like I said, if it's isolated. Now, the only benefit that there would be to using an isolated compound would be if you are, sorry, I forgot to bring my tea down. Okay, so bear with me. So the only advantage would be is if someone were to get drug tested, then they might be someone who actually can't enjoy the benefits of full spectrum medicine, because while if they did, if they tested, it might come up false positive. If they retested, it could show up. So you just want to make sure, if you're someone who's risking losing your job, you know, or going back to jail or something like that, you could just use isolate, which, like I said, has its own benefits. And I've gotten testimonials for our isolate. So it's not like if that was your only option, there's no point. There's definitely a point, because CBD has its own benefits, and our product is actually raw. It hasn't been heated, so it retains the CBDA cannabinoid. And like I said, well, I don't know if I said that yet, but CBDA is actually 1,000 times more absorbable by the body than CBD. So you would need to use 1,000 times more of another company's to achieve the same results that you would with ours. And the acids, THCA, CBDA, CBGA, they're all more bioavailable, so they're actually more easily absorbed by our bodies than the neutrals. So it's actually a good idea to try to find a raw product. And of course, because if it's a raw product, then that's going to mean that it needs to be refrigerated. So if you're looking for a raw product, then you're going to want to find an oil or extract that would be refrigerated, because if it's raw, then that will be important to make sure. And so our bodies actually, we have cannabinoids produced in our bodies, and those are known as endocannabinoids. When our okay, so our bodies have endocannabinoids. Plants produce phytocannabinoids. So these phytocannabinoids are easily utilized by our bodies and have the same actions on our physiology as the cannabinoids that our bodies produce. So that's why most of the times people won't find that there's any kind of excuse me, contraindications or interactions with any other medications or anything like that, because if there's no interactions now, then there shouldn't be, with the addition of a CBD product, specifically ours. I'm able to speak of, because I know about it. It's hard for me to talk about somebody else's that I'm not sure about, but by adding that, it can definitely help to maintain a state of balance from within. Those cannabinoids actually activate our CB1 and CB2 receptors in our endocannabinoid system, which is what we're going to be talking about next time, so I'm not going to get into that too much. But those cannabinoids work similarly in our body as the plant cannabinoid, and the plant cannabinoids work similarly as our own cannabinoids in our body, which helps to enhance our physiology and make us healthier for sure. And there's those cannabinoids can't be found in every strain of cannabis. It's pretty much strain specific. There are major cannabinoids and minor cannabinoids, which is kind of funny because it reminds me of tarot cards, because I read tarot cards, and there's major arcana and minor arcana, and it's kind of the same thing with the cannabis plant, because not all of the cannabinoids that we've mentioned are found in every strain. So you have to really check and make sure if you're purchasing at a dispensary, they should have all that information for you. And actually anyone that you're purchasing from should have a lab test for you. You should make sure of that. It's just good practice to make sure that it's been lab tested to ensure quality and that there's no, pesticides or residues, or that it's a clean product that doesn't have any hydrocarbons if it was like butane or something like that produced with. So there's many different reasons to make sure that you have an organic product. Cannabis and hemp are actually soil purifiers, so they're actually removing heavy metals and toxins from the soil. So you would want to make sure that the product that you have definitely is organic to ensure that you are utilizing a safe product, because not only could it not make you feel better if it was not organic, but it could potentially make you feel worse if it had absorbed those heavy metals and toxins from the soil. And so THC has been known to relieve pain, inflammation, anxiety. It's funny, these many of the cannabinoids kind of cross over and have similar properties, although some of them might react a little faster for specific ailments than others. Like we said, it's worked well for anxiety, nausea, spasticity, spasms, seizures, and it has it down-regulates inflammation within our bodies. So if we have any kind of inflammation, it helps to bring them down. And THCA actually is able to work on nausea. So it has antiemetic properties where it helps to make you not feel so nauseous, and it works at much lower doses than THC, as well as anti-inflammatory properties. So if you wanted to utilize the benefits of the acids, THCA, you could use, or any of the acids, you could use raw cannabis, and co-administration of THCA with THC will also slow down the breakdown and secretion of THC, so you'll actually have those benefits for a little bit longer. And CBD, like we said, has been known to have the same benefits, where it relieves anxiety, depression, pain, seizures, psychosis, inflammation, spasms, nausea. But CBDA is actually, like we said, 10,000 times more absorbable by the body than CBD. And in animal models for anxiety, they found that it's actually 50 times more effective and absorbable than CBD. And what's nice about CBDA is that CBDA doesn't lessen the effects of THC. So CBD actually mitigates the effects of THC, meaning it prevents you from getting too high. That's why the majority of strains that you'll find recreationally don't really have very high doses of CBD in them present, because most recreational growers have bred out the CBD, because having a plant that's not going to get you high doesn't have a lot of job security in it for a recreational grower, right? So if you go to a dispensary nowadays and you are looking specifically for a plant that has higher doses, then that's beneficial for folks who want the benefits of THC but don't want the psychoactive components that are present. So if you're the opposite and you want the benefits of CBD but you don't want it to interfere with the psychoactive components that are found in THC, then you could use CBDA. That would be a good option for you, because, like I said, CBD mitigates the effects of THC, but CBDA does not. So that's why it would be a good option for you. And CBG was another one that I wanted to talk about, another cannabinoid. And there's very little research done on CBG, unfortunately. Hopefully over the next few years there will be, more research found on all of the cannabinoids. And the little bit of research that they did right around COVID, they actually did research on CBD and CBDA, and they found that it blocked the COVID virus from penetrating human cells. And I'm willing to bet that any of the cannabinoids would do that. They just haven't done the research yet. But most, cannabis is antiviral. So it's antiviral, antibacterial. It has so many, it's antimicrobial. It has so many properties to it that would definitely help to boost your immune system, that if anyone was combating any kind of illness or virus or trying to boost their immune function in any way, that would definitely be a good option for you. And CBG has been known to reduce pain, reduce skin redness, and actually inhibits the enzymes that are known to produce inflammatory molecules. So it's actually more potent than THC with those abilities. And it's kind of a little bit confusing, because the plant actually converts CBGA to THCA and CBDA. So it's got all kinds of things going on inside of it that we don't even understand yet, the benefits and the I don't even think we know all the compounds. Like I said, they're always finding out new cannabinoids all the time that are in there. So the ways that we can use cannabis, if you wanted to use cannabis for yourself and take advantage of those acids as opposed to the neutrals, the way that you could do that would be by using raw cannabis, right? Because when you heat it, that's when you decarboxylate it, and that's converting those acids into neutrals. And what do I mean? I mean it's converting THCA to THC, CBGA to CBG, and CBDA to CBD. So those are different. Like we said, acidic cannabinoids don't have any psychoactive component to it, so you don't need to worry about eating cannabis raw. It's not going to get you high. There's not going to be any psychoactive component to it. So what you could do is you could use a little tiny bit of a cannabis bud, maybe like an eraser size, and add it to a cup of water. And THC is actually not bioavailable in water, so it's not going to release too much of the psychoactive components. So if anyone's worried about getting high, you don't have to worry about that. And you could do that, have 1 cup twice a day over a period of 2 weeks, and see how you feel with that, and if you need to adjust your dose at all to get the benefits of those acids, acidic cannabinoids. And another thing that you could do would be to juice the leaves. So if you were making vegetable juice with like carrots and celery and beets, although if you were using beets when you were juicing, you would want to make sure not to use a whole beet, because beets can actually cause your body to detox really fast. So if you use the whole beet, then you might feel like, oh, juicing's not for me, it made me feel bad. But if you make sure that you only use a quarter of a beet, and then just work your way up as you go until over like a period of a week or two, you slowly increase until you're using a whole beet. That's always an option to add to your juice, which is, you know, great blood builder. But anyway, getting back to cannabis. So if you added some leaves, some fresh leaves, if you wanted to add buds, you could, but you could just add some leaves to your juice and juice them. If you were making a smoothie, a lot of times we like to just take some leaves and add it to it, and it doesn't taste bad. It actually makes it taste really yummy, and it makes it a pretty green color. So, and it's another way to utilize your plants, because usually the leaves are something that aren't really utilized much if you are using it, you know, for the buds. So, like I said, this whole month of August, we're going to be learning about cannabis medicine, and enrollment is now open at Nature's Mysteries Academy of Holistic Health. If you're interested in taking your knowledge of herbal medicine a step further and turning your passion into your profession, we'd love to have you join us. Our fall session begins September 12th, and we're meeting every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. We have payment plan options available and partial scholarships. So you can go to naturesmysteries.com if that's something that you feel drawn to or that calls to you. We've gotten lots of great reviews from students from our last session, and we're slowly filling up the class now. So if that's something that you feel drawn to, we try not to have too many students so that we can keep it intimate. And it also includes a group discussion on Facebook, and 2 discussion posts are included a week that are part of the coursework, and then you'll receive your course book. And at the end of the 12 weeks, you can apply to the American Association of Drugless Practitioners to become a holistic health practitioner, board certified. Imagine what that could do for your business, your practice, even just your family, if you know you're interested. Sorry, I need a drink. If you're interested in learning more about herbal medicine, you can check that out, or you can always reach out at info@naturesmysteries.com. Our phone lines are open until 11 p.m. every night if you have any questions. And next week we're going to be talking more about cannabis medicine this whole month, like I said. So join us every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. We'll hope to see you and discover the essence of cannabis medicine. Thanks so much. Take care.